Welcome back to another pre-market watch list here today. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. Today, it's going to be a busy day. Again, we got a lot of earnings plays today. It's just this whole week's going to be pretty busy. I think it's going to be a little bit more volatile than the past weeks. We'll see, but again, tons of earnings play today, so we'll see what's going on. There's a lot to talk about today. We're not going to have enough time to fully cover every single stock in a ton of detail. Thanks for the haircut mention. Thank you. Appreciate that. So again, guys, busy morning. Won't have enough time to cover everything. Mike Taylor, crypto is heating up. You're right. I have not looked at Netflix yet today. So I'll take a look at Netflix. Money Tuesday, hopefully. So yesterday was kind of a pain. Thinkorswim was running slow for me, so I really didn't get to trade yesterday for the most part. I did end up trading once I got it fixed, but I ended up losing $700 yesterday due to a few bad positions regardless. So I didn't get to trade the morning session. I'm trading a little bit in the afternoon, and in my day down $700. Sucks. So today my program's working very good. So hopefully that'll help get back yesterday's loss and move forward. So we'll be looking at Tesla as well today. I'm sorry to hear that about the 5K yesterday. Yeah, I wasn't the only one that was having issues, but part of the reason why my TOS was running so slow is because I was running so many programs at one time. I mean, I have 4 screens, as you guys can see, so I got a lot of stuff that goes on at one time. So I was just running too many open programs in Thinkorswim at one time. And then I change over the memory usage and my RAM and anyways. So yesterday sucked, put it that way. It was super laggy. So 1 second. Let's get into it. There's a lot to cover, so I'm gonna get to sharing the screen. All right, let's do that. Share that, and all right. Let's see. All right, I'm just going to start here with IQ. I know you guys are like, oh, let's talk about IQ again. Yeah, so anyways, one of my favorite stocks recently because it's such a good day trading stock. I mean, there's always a move and there's always a squeeze. So this is like, IQ is like the #1 for me, I feel like it's like the #1 retail trading stock right now. There's a lot of retail traders that trade IQ, so it's a pretty predictable stock to trade intraday. That's why I like it so much. So for me personally, I'm just going to go out there and say I'm thinking long on IQ. I don't know if it's going to be a great long play today or if the long play is going to be 2 days from now, but I do know that the selling pressure is slowing down on IQ. That's a fact. I mean, if we look at, let's just look at like a 20-day chart, right? You can clearly see that IQ hit the top here around 38 and then it dropped. And now it's starting to, it bottomed here and now we have a higher low and we're starting to trend up. So I think we're probably going to see either today or even tomorrow a short intermediate bounce plan IQ up to 34 or even 35. All right, so I think either today or tomorrow or maybe even the next day, but it's coming. I'm pretty sure it's coming. I think we're going to have a little bit of a bounce play coming on IQ, whether that's today, tomorrow, or the next day. Because, again, we topped at 38. We dropped. Now we're bottoming. We've put in a higher low, so we should start kind of bouncing. That's what makes the most sense. And you can kind of see where we're bottoming here. If you go straight across, I mean, that's kind of where we consolidated for a while, right? Right in that area. So I think in the coming days, we're going to see a nice bounce on IQ. Now, if we look at a 5-day chart, 5-day chart shows massive short at 38, followed by another short, followed by a chop. We bottomed at 31. We bounced back up. We tried to go high yesterday, as I said, and we got rejected. Then we consolidated, and now we're gapping up this morning, right? So all this right through here, this is all just a back and forth consolidation. It's a battle. People are trying to get it to go up, and people want it to come down. So there's literally a fight right now between bullish and bearish traders. And I think the bulls are starting to win because for one, we tried to drop down, hit 31, we bounced significantly, right? We tried to go higher, we sold off, right? And we kind of consolidated, and this morning we're gapping up. So I think either today we're going to see a little bit of a long play, maybe up to 34, because there's still short sellers that need to squeeze out, and there's still bullish traders that are trying to buy it. So I won't go over my long-term approach on it, but I do think in the coming days we're going to be seeing a bounce. Whether that's today or tomorrow, I can't necessarily say for sure. I think there's going to be at least a for a fact, I know there's probably going to be some type of little bounce or long play today. I just don't know if it's going to be the significant one that pops all the way to 35, right? That's what I want. I want the day where we're going to squeeze to 34, then up to 35. I don't think today's the day, but I'm mentioning it now so that it's instilled in your memory so you don't forget it, and to keep watching it for today, tomorrow, and maybe even the next day. Okay, so going to be watching IQ long here today. Let's see. And then, yeah, we know they have their earnings coming up next week and things like that. So next one on the list is I'll talk about WHR real quick. So WHR is an earnings play. I'm just going to briefly go through most of these. I'm not going to go super in depth. So WHR earnings play down about $14 a share. It has a 52-week low at 142, which we're past. So if you wanted to find the next key level of support, you need to go to a 3-year weekly chart, or like a date back as far as 3 years. And you'll see we have a low at 123.60, right? And then it has support from 123s all the ways up to 140, right? So today I'm going to be watching WHR short, but I'm only probably going to short WHR if in fact it squeezes up first. I'm not a big fan of shorting gap downs on the low, right? I usually need to see them squeeze up to a resistance, and then I'll short. And you guys are familiar with this. If you guys have been following me, if you guys are always tuning in, into the streams, you guys know by now the way to play gap downs or how I tend to play them. They don't always work out 100% of the time, but usually, if I'm going to trade a gap down, I'm going to be waiting for it to squeeze out to a level of resistance, and then I'll get short, anticipating it to break down a little bit later. All right, so going to be watching WHR short anywhere from the 138 to the 142 range is where I'd be entering a short position. All right, and then anticipation that we break down 134, head towards 130s. All right, next one on the list is which one am I going to go? We'll go over Verizon. So Verizon's gapping up this morning. I don't typically play Verizon, but it is an earnings play, so I figured I'd mention it. What I will mention, though, and not that Verizon has to follow the same history, but every time Verizon gaps up on its earnings, it usually sells off. Ready? Like right here, this day, Verizon gapped up, and then it went red. Next earnings play was right here. Verizon shot up, then it went red. Next earnings play, Verizon gapped up, went red. So for the past 3 earnings, Verizon has successfully gapped up and then gone red on the day. If Verizon did follow this same history as it's done before in its earnings, that's saying that today Verizon is going to be below $50, actually lower than that. It's going to be below, hold on. That means Verizon, if it were to go red on the day like it has on all of its earnings plays for the last 3 times, that means Verizon's going to end up somewhere below the price point of $50.80 today. Theoretically, from what it's done in the past, that's what would happen today if it followed what it's done in the past. It would be below $50.80. And considering it's happened the last 3 times, it's gapped up on earnings and then gone red on the day, I cannot think anything but short on Verizon. Now, it doesn't mean I'm instantly just going to short it. It all depends on the setup. But since it's happened the past 3 times, I'm going to initially have that same bias approach going into today's trading. Okay. So Verizon, just know past 3 times its earnings, it's gapped up and then gone red on the day. All right. Antonio, I actually traded our ETA yesterday, so I know all about it. But I will give it a mention today, my man. Let's see what else we got. Just buy Facebook. No, don't buy Facebook. Don't buy any blue chip stock right now, for that matter. Just wait till the market goes through recession, then buy. All right. What's next? We'll do BIIB. So BIIB is another earnings play that's now currently up. I don't know. What is it up now? Let's see. So now it's currently up $25 a share with 119,000 shares traded this morning. So for me, considering the way it's gapping up, right? Whenever you get a play that gaps up like this, consolidates and goes again, usually you're going to be looking at a long bias trade for the day. Not always, but usually. But again, I am not the one to buy a gap up right out of the gates because there's usually going to be a wash first. So for me personally, if I were to trade BIIB today, it's probably going to be getting along around, 381 or 380 or 377 or any one of these levels that I'm mapping off. So if you're going to trade this one, it's light volume right now. I'm hoping that when the bell rings, we pick up in volume. But if this thing looks anything like this, right? So if the chart looks anything like this was yesterday's trading on BIIB. If the chart looks anything like that, I won't trade it today because that's too low a volume for me to trade. And I don't even want to bother with it. So unless it picks up in volume, I won't trade it. All right. All right. Yeah, if you're looking for short-term gains in the market, then absolutely. Long-term investing, I think market's too high. So next one I'll talk about is Tesla, and then I'll take a look at some other things. So Tesla, I'll just cover real briefly. I'm just thinking Tesla is either going to chop today, but we might actually have a little bit of a long play. I'm thinking that there might be some type of long play here today on Tesla. Yeah, let's clear drawings. Yeah. So the reason I think we might have a long play on Tesla is just because Tesla kind of just rolled over, right? And then it dumped, but it fully reclaimed yesterday. So that leads me to believe there might be like a little pop this morning on Tesla. So maybe just watch Tesla long. That's all I'm really going to say there is that yesterday's drop on Tesla recovered phenomenally. It covered very well. So I think this might actually have like a little bit of a long play today, but we'll see. Okay. ELY, that's another earnings play. Or no, sorry, that was not it. LLY was the other earnings play, but it's all junky. But ELY, let's see. ELY. Callaway? Callaway. Wow. Look at these guys go. I personally use Mizuno's, but I guess Callaway's cool too. I mean, yeah, I mean, like all I'm going to say is long story short. Actually, that's not something good to say. I think it's arguable that it's not a bad time to buy Callaway considering it just went through a dip. That's it. So it's going through a dip. So it's arguable that right now is a good time for a dip buy, anticipating that it pushes up to previous highs. Okay. let me take a look at a few other stocks here, and then we'll hop off. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at RETA. So for the average trader, this is not something you want to mess around with too hard or too much. Okay, so for the average person, this is not the stock you want to trade. RETA went up, I don't even know, it was like 60 bucks yesterday, something crazy. Like it ripped from like, let's see. It went from 46 to 78 yesterday. So for the average person, this is not a good stock for you to trade. And the reason being is it has a very a big spread. The spread ranges anywhere from like 80 cents to $1. So even if you go in with, let's say you're trading 100 shares of RETA, once you buy 100 shares at any given point, the market maker can flip the spread up and down, and you'll be seeing your P&L go up 100, down 100, or down 200, up break even, right? And that's just the spread. Okay, that is just the spread. So let me put it this way, right? Let's say you come in and buy at this yellow candle, right? Let's just say you, yeah, like let's just say, well, that's it. I mean, I guess that's it. Well, actually, no, we'll do it like this. Let's say you bought here, right? If you bought right there with 100 shares, on that candle alone, you'll either be up 100 or down 100 because of the spread. Even if you bought here with 100 shares on RETA yesterday, and even if the candlestick, right, if you bought and just say you bought it and the candlestick didn't even move, no one bought or no one sold, and it was just staying still, and the price of the stock, the price of the candlestick wasn't moving, you could still be going up 100, down 100 because of the market making spread there. And then if the next candle went red, you could be down 200 to even 300 because of the actual price movement of the candles on top of the spread difference. So if you're average typical trader, this is not a good stock for you to trade. But if you understand trading a little bit better, you know how to work a limit order, you know how to work the depth of market, then this would be a good stock for you to trade because you can make a lot of money on it because of the spread difference, its range and volatility. But to answer more briefly here, Antonio, I think RETA is a good stock to watch long. If you look at this yearly chart, it's like this. Right here, this right here is one of the most important indicators that you need to follow for all long-term investments is that volume spike. Now, sure, it only hit 4 million, but look at previously what the volume looked like on RETA. Volume is just dead on RETA, right? Just nothing there. And then all of a sudden a big spike. Now, of course, there's going to be someone that goes, well, the reason you had the volume spike was because of the good news. Well, obviously the volume spike was associated because of the good news. Like that's obviously. But when you see volume spikes, that means people are interested in that stock for whatever reasons. Okay. So unusual volume spikes can lead a lot of times to good long-term growth, okay? Because simply out of nowhere, a bunch of people all decided this is a good stock to have. Secondly, if you look at RETA, it went from, I don't know, what's to say it went from 50 bucks to 78. It actually went more than that. Okay, let's go back. What did it go from? It went from 46 to 78 yesterday. Does anybody notice anything significant about this move? I do. I don't know if you guys do, but I do. It went from 46 or something all the way to 78, and look at it. No sell-off. there was no sell-off at all yesterday. Nothing. The stock went up $20 to $30 a share with no significant sell-off. What does that tell you? That tells you that nobody really wanted to sell their shares yesterday. Nobody was concerned about selling. Everybody was only concerned about buying and holding. Now, sure, this thing might sell off a little today, or it might sell off tomorrow or in the coming days, but nobody wanted to sell it yesterday. That is a signal that they have a strong belief it might even push higher today or the next day, or that it may not even come down. It might just keep going. Okay. But a lot of times when a stock does go through a big push like this, there will be a sell-off. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it might be the coming day or in the next 2 weeks, it might sell off, but it's probably not going to drop all the way down to 40. And it probably won't drop all the way down to 55. It'll probably drop a good $5 to $10 a share, and then it might start getting bought up again. You want to know what this reminds me of? Let me show you a stock. I think this might be the one. No, this isn't. Dang it. I can't remember. There was a stock. Let's see. Or let me show you this one. Intelstat. Kind of like this, right? It's not the exact same, but it's kind of similar, right? Look at what happened. Just not a lot of volume, right? Big volume spike. Not a lot of volume, right? You see what happened? See what happened? Let me zoom in a little bit right here. And now this isn't, the best example, but it's something to get your brain working. You see how there's no volume or just very light, and then all of a sudden, boom, volume spike? Now, sure, you guys are going to go, well, that's because of the earnings. That's why it spiked. Sure, it spiked because of the earnings. No, obviously. But in comparison to the amount of volume that it typically would see, that is a massive change in volume. For some reason, everybody decided that this was a good stock to start buying on that earnings. Look what happened. The stock popped. It sold off a little bit, and then boom, straight up. That is a signal of a good long-term growth stock. Another one that is very similar. Ready? Now, this is a better example to compare to RETA. Is Endocyte or whatever. Ready? No volume. Boom. Huge volume spike out of nowhere. All of a sudden, 60, 70 million shares traded in a couple days. Actually, that's 2 days. This thing traded 50 to 60 million shares. It gaps up. It sells off, not all the way, and then boom, off to the races. Good long-term investment. Maybe not the best time to buy right now, but that is your buy signal. That is the first signal that this thing could be a good long. Okay? It's not necessarily good to buy it right at the top when you see the volume. Always wait for them to pull back, because they will, because no one's ever for sure it's going to be good. So they'll sell and take profits. But when this thing starts coming back down to a good buy point, you're going to get more volume. These are going to be the smart money. That's smart money right there coming in. Okay? They see the big spike and they go, well, this is too high. We're not going to buy up here. We're not going to buy here. We're going to wait till it gets down to a respectable price, and then we'll start buying back up again. And then look at that. Look at that thing. Boom. All right? So there's your mini lesson on the day. All All right, that is all I have for you guys today. So I couldn't go over all stocks, but hope that helps. So did you guys maybe learn a little bit there? So if you guys have any questions, I mean, that's kind of it. So that is a number one. That's a number one thing to watch for. Oh, hold on, I gotta. That's one of the number one things to watch for. Okay. Now here's a funny thing. All right. Here's a funny thing. I'll stay on here for another couple of minutes because I'm having a good time this morning. All right. But here's the thing, and it's kind of funny, is when you first get involved into trading or just anything involved, whatever trading, right? You're going to see a lot of videos like mine too, right? And you'll read a lot of things, and it's all gonna revolve around, you got to use the MACD with an RSI and then the average true range. And then you have to cross intersect them here with this amount of volume. And then it has to go on this higher low candlestick setup. And that's your buy point. Sure, whatever, right? But do not. Nobody really talks. I mean, we say look for volume because volume's, the key. But think about this. Just take 2 seconds because it's plain and it's simple, okay? Very simple. The number one best indicator there is volume. It's volume, just like I showed you. Now you have to use it correctly. And what I just showed you isn't necessarily a way to determine a good day trade or maybe even a good swing trade. But what I just showed you, those big volume spikes, where when a stock has zero volume, or when it has really, and I'm only referring to stocks that have no volume to big volume spikes. We're not talking about a stock that has had volume and then it just has a good day. We're talking about stocks that have no volume or very, very little volume, and then all of a sudden, massive spike in volume. Because that massive spike in volume is simply telling you, hey, it's literally waving its hand at you saying, last week I was nothing, right? Last week I was an underdog. And now this week, everybody wants me, okay? It's like becoming famous, right? Justin Bieber, for example, was nobody, right? He was nothing. Same as me. I mean, shit, like 4 years ago, I wasn't anything. And now somehow I'm on YouTube, and now some people like me because I can explain things simply. I love it. Awesome. But before Justin Bieber became big, he was nothing. He just played a guitar. I mean, he was something, obviously, but nobody knew him. And then he got on YouTube, grew a huge following. He picked up in volume, and now look at the kid, right? Same thing with the stock. When they have no volume and they're treated as nothing, and then all of a sudden they see this big volume spike, that is telling you, that is a signal that's saying, this was nothing, and all of a sudden people want it, so it could be something. It's not that it will, but it could be. Justin Bieber went on YouTube, did his guitar thing and sang, and there was somebody out there that said, this kid is it. He is going to make it. There was no for sure guarantee, but that person that saw the vision in Justin Bieber, and hey, Justin, if you're seeing this, give me a thanks because I'm promoting you right now. That you're awesome. Okay, thank you. You can toss me your Lamborghini if you like. But again, that person who saw Justin Bieber and said, this kid, he had vision. He said, this kid's going to make it. This kid can do it. That's the same thing that those volume spikes are. Those are investors coming in and saying, this company has what it takes. We're going to start buying this thing up. And what happens is it just starts a rally, right? They start buying, then more people start buying, and more people start buying. And that's why that's why they shoot up, right? But that is a signal that this someday could be something. So remember that. When there's no volume or little volume leading to a massive spike in volume, that right there is a signal that this thing could be something. Do not buy the big spike. Wait for it to pull back, and then you take your entry. Oh, man, that was good. That was good. So other than that, guys, hit the like button before you go out, and then that's all I have for you. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another watch list. Other than that, take care. Have a good day. See ya.